Hey guys, Mosa here, and today I'm bringing you my Orange Bowl prediction semi-final college football playoff game between the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the Penn State Nittany Lions. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Now, let's kick it off with the injury report of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, kicking it off with defensive lineman Riley Mills with a knee injury, cornerback Benjamin Morrison with a hip injury, defensive lineman Bakar Grashore with a knee injury as well, and tight end Cooper Flanagan with a foot injury, all out for this game. Then moving on to running back Jeremiah Love, who is probable for the game with a knee injury. Now, when it comes down to it, obviously losing these many defenders is going to be an issue, and if they lose Love, that might actually hinder their offense a lot more, because honestly, I think Love is a pretty good running back. Even though they got a pretty good quarterback and decent receiving core, I think that Love is a really big part of that offense. So losing him is going to be an issue. But in the end, I think he's going to play. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But when it comes down to it, I think that the defense is really going to have issues against Penn State. But it's not going to be that bad. But it is going to be bad at certain points because obviously, you got backups that aren't going to be playing and obviously starters that are also not going to be playing. In the end, I think that the lack of defenders is going to be an issue because then you don't have players to come in for players who are tired or injured. Now, moving on to the offense, we got quarterback Riley Leonard, running back Jeremiah Love, wide receivers Bo Collins, Jordan Faison, and Jaden Greathouse, tight end Mitchell Evans, left tackle Anthony Knapp, left guard Sam Pendleton, center Pat Coogan, right guard Rocco Spindler, and right tackle Emil Wagner. Now, my expectations for the offensive line is mostly I think they're going to do a very decent job. They've done a good job throughout the college football playoffs to get Notre Dame here to the semifinals. But in the end, it really all comes down to how good they can be in the tough scenarios against this defensive line and pass rush of the Penn State Nittany Lions. And honestly, it's going to be a decent job, although a bit troublesome for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish starting offensive line. Jeremiah Love obviously is the workhorse back. He is the main guy to get the ball in this game. Obviously, you got some decent receivers and tight ends. And obviously, with Riley Leonard at quarterback, you got a pretty good quarterback back there. They'll throw the football to their wide receivers and hand it off to Love. But I think Love is going to be the key star for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the run game. But honestly, if the run game is stopped, that doesn't mean it's over for Notre Dame. They still got like I said, a decent receiving game, pass game, that sort of thing. So realistically, they could still pass the ball pretty efficiently. And I believe that even if the run game is stopped, they still have an opportunity, although it is a very slim one, to beat the Penn State Nittany Lions defense. Now, moving on to the defense, we got defensive ends R.J. Oben and Joshua Burnham. Defensive tackles Howard Cross and Gabriel Rubio. Weak side linebacker Jack Kisser. Inside linebacker Drake Bowen. Strong side linebacker Jalen Sneed. Cornerbacks Christian Gray and Leonard Moore. Nickelback Jordan Clark. And free safety Xavier Watts with strong safety Andon Schuler. Now, when it comes to this defense, I honestly think that they're going to have a decent job against Penn State. Obviously, it's a very tough offense to beat. You got, obviously, in the quarterback position, Drew Aller, Singleton in that backfield, a very decent receiving game and a decent offensive line. I think that it's going to have an issue, specifically in the pass rush. Honestly, it's still going to be a sort of decent game for the defense. I think they're not going to let up as much points as I think. It's not going to be a blowout like 50 to 40, 30 points, but still, they're going to put up a little bit, some points there for Penn State. But in the end, I think that they might be able to stop them before they get 4 total touchdowns in this game. in the end, it really all comes down to how well the defense can perform. Now, moving on to the Penn State Nittany Lions injury report, we got defensive tackle Alonzo Ford Jr., who is out with a lower body injury. Defensive end Abdul Carter with an arm injury. Safety Kevin Winston Jr. with a knee injury. Running back Cam Wallace with a lower body injury. Tight end Andrew Rapelea. I don't know if that's how you say it, but he has a lower body injury as well. Wide receiver Caden Saunders with a foot injury. Defensive tackle Caleb Artist with an arm injury. And wide receiver Tyseer Denmark with a knee injury. All questionable for the game. Now, in my opinion, the defense is going to suffer a lot. Obviously, not having Ford or Carter or Winston is going to be an issue. Potentially, obviously, because I think all of them will play, obviously, except for Ford, since he's out. But then you get wide receivers like Denmark and Saunders. They're backup, so I'm not really going to put everything on them. Cam Wallace, also a backup. Although, like I've said before, they're also rotational players. So that's going to be an issue when it comes to rotating in injured players or players who are just tired and fatigued. So that's going to be an issue. Otherwise, I'm going to see this as a pretty decent game for Penn State. Now, moving on to the offense of Penn State, we got quarterback Drew Aller, running back Nicholas Singleton, wide receiver Harrison Wallace, Julian Fleming, and Liam Clifford. Tight end Tyler Warren, left tackle Drew Shelton, offensive lineman Ola Uyone. I don't know if that's how you say it, but I'll just call him Ola. Nick Dawkins at center, right guard Sal Wormley, and right tackle Anthony Dunco. And when it comes down to it, honestly, this offensive line is going to be pretty decent. The receiving core, pretty decent. Running back is going to be an okay. But really, it's going to be all down to the quarterback. I think Drew Aller, as long as he's not pressured, he'll do a very good job against the Notre Dame defense. Although it's going to be an issue. Although I think that the running back will definitely take the heat off the quarterback. Although you better prepare for a very heavy pass game for Penn State against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And most likely, we're going to be seeing a probably 3 to 2 touchdown game for Drew Aller. Now, moving on to the defense of Penn State, we got defensive ends Danny Dennis Sutton and Abdul Carter. If Carter cannot go, Amin Vanover will take over. Then we move on to defensive tackles Zane Durant and Devon J. Thomas. Weak side linebackers Tony Rojas and Kobe Keene. Cornerbacks Jalen Kimber and AJ Harris. Nickelback Cam Miller. Free safety Zaki Wheatley and Jalen Reed at strong safety. Now, when it comes down to it, I honestly think that this is going to be a pretty decent defense, although they are going up against a tough offense led by, obviously, Riley Leonard at quarterback and led in the run game by Jeremiah Love. That is going to be a crucial thing. They got to stop the run game. From the outside, the inside zone, doesn't matter. They got to make sure that Love is stopped in the backfield, because if he gets to the open field, he's gone, and honestly, he's just going to run over you. While in the receiving core, I'm not that really worried about that. This secondary is pretty decent and decent enough to cover everyone, but my real concern will be the pass rush and the run stop of the Penn State Nittany Lions against Riley Leonard and Jeremiah Love. Now, in my conclusion, I have this game going in favor of the Penn State Nittany Lions, 24-20. This game is going to be a hard-fought game offensively. The defenses are going to be there from time to time, but in the end, it's going to be 2 touchdowns, maybe 3. But for me, it would be 2 for Drew Aller and 1 for one of the running backs, and then obviously a game-winning field goal. While on the Notre Dame side, you got the quarterback Riley Leonard getting about 2 touchdowns and 1 for Jeremiah Love, but one of those touchdowns has a blocked extra point. And obviously, if the Notre Dame Fighting Irish cannot get that blocked field goal, I think that this game will indeed end in favor of Penn State. And honestly, it's really an uphill battle for Notre Dame. But still, I think they could in fact win this game. But honestly, it could go either ways. But for me, Penn State wins it out. Now, that was it for this video. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Who do you think will win the Orange Bowl? The Penn State Nittany Lions or the Notre Dame Fighting Irish? Tell me down in the comments below. Now, like this video if you liked it, subscribe, and hit the notification if you want more videos. And I'll see you guys next time.